Hi everyone, thanks for watching. I hope you're all well wherever you are and whatever you're up to. I'm Lauren from Guthrie and Ghani, and in this video I'm going to be sharing with you the recording of the live question and answer session that I did over on the Instagram platform on Monday the 31st of July. So I will be answering your sewing and dressmaking questions and giving you lots of recommendations for fabric and pattern pairings as well. So hopefully lots of lovely inspiration if you're planning a dressmaking project. I've got some hints for the upcoming Sewing Society kits and lots of lovely new fabrics to share with you as well. So yeah, lots of nice things coming your way. If you are watching here on YouTube and you've got any questions or input that you would like me to include in a future session, then do just leave a comment on this video, or you can email or call the shop as well if you would like to, and then they can pass on your questions to me to include another time. But I will switch over to the live recording now. I hope you enjoy it and I'll see you very soon. So it's lovely to see everybody joining live. Hi, I hope you're having a nice evening and that you've had a good day and a good weekend. It was very busy here over the weekend. We had one of our summer sewing retreats on, so that was really good fun, with 8 lovely ladies that did really well. So many amazing garments made over the 3 days. So yeah, that was really fun. Oh, you're back, delightful. Yeah, it's nice to see y'all. I have missed you. I've missed chatting to you and hearing what you're up to. But yeah, hopefully we can all catch up now, and I've got lots of things to show you. There have been quite a few new fabrics since I've last done a live, so I've got some of them to show you here. Some of them aren't included in the new fabrics video that I put on YouTube last week, so you can always check that out if you want to see some new fabrics there too. But I've got some of the new Liberty Autumn Winter collection to show you on Tanalon, and some silks as well, which are very fancy. So I will show you all of them too. The retreat was fantastic. Thanks, Helen. Hi everybody. Hello from a very wet Northumberland. I know, it's just like, seriously, where is the summer? I need the sunshine. Yeah. Okay, so I do have some hints for you for the Sewing Society kits. Remember, they get released on Wednesday. So Wednesday at midday. If you're subscribed to our newsletter, then make sure that you tune into that. Or if you're not subscribed to the newsletter, there is still time to sign up. But yeah, we've got 2 new kits, and I would say they're both pretty simple makes. They don't have like lots of little bits and pieces to them. So I think sometimes it's like nice to kind of have something that's like a little bit more straightforward if you're more experienced. And yeah, just have a pattern that you could make in various different versions as well and get quite different effects, or just have maybe, I don't want to use the word basic because I feel like that might do it injustice, but you know, like nice simple patterns, and some really lovely fabrics and colours as well. You could wear them together if you wanted. One you could wear on its own, the other one you would have to wear it with something else. So one of them you could either wear with the other kit, or you would have to wear it with something else. And yeah, I hope you're really going to like them. So the other things that I wanted to show you before I get stuck into all of your questions are the new, so I'll show you some of the new fabrics. I haven't brought all of them out because there are quite a lot, but as I said, do check out my new fabrics video if you haven't seen that already. That's on my YouTube channel. And then I sort of go into more detail about all of that. But we've had quite a big selection of different Nani fabrics. That's the Japanese designer. So all the fabrics are made and woven and printed and everything in Japan. They're really nice quality. A mixture of base cloths. I've taken over a little selection of colours here. They're really like works of art on fabric. They're so beautiful, and these are some of my favourite ones here. I love the sort of tealy green colours. A bit of a mixture of different bases. So we've got some that are cotton and silk, that's this one here. It's 80 cotton and 20 silk. They are at the pricier end because they're designer and because of the fibres that they're made from, and that, you know, they're imported from Japan. This one's $33.50 a metre. Somebody was asking, would it be okay for pyjamas? I think it probably would be. I would maybe make sure that, depending on sort of what style you're making, or maybe like how fitted they are over the bum, maybe you might want to like just reinforce the back crotch seam a little bit. So like a double line of stitching. You could even put like a really light light interfacing on the seam line as well, just to reinforce that. But I think they would feel really lovely and like cooling and comfortable to wear as PJs. But I would probably say like the looser the better. So that's the cotton and silk one, and then quite a lot of them are double gauze, so that's the two really fine layers of cotton double gauze that are kind of invisibly stitched together. And this one's beautiful. It's got these really like bright neon orange little accents in it. It's lovely. They're quite abstract, quite sort of, there's not really kind of uniform pattern to them. And then this is another double gauze one here. Really beautiful colours in this one. I love this one. Very oceany. And that's the other side as well. I would say that the kind of fabrics that you wouldn't pattern match, so you would just kind of go with whatever, they're abstract enough. I don't think you'd want to pattern match them. Another lovely blue one here, again it's cotton gauze too, really lovely nice bright blues in that one. And they match my necklace, I know. You tell I like these colours. And then this one here is really lovely and nice and bright and colourful as well. It's actually kind of reminding me of the Be Happy Blooms print a bit, with all of these really like bright multicoloured flowers. But yeah, it's on a double gauze. So yeah, they're all in the Just Arrived section just now, or you can look at the Nanny Arrow section as well. You can filter the fabrics by that too. So that was just like a little selection of them. There are more, but I don't want to go into detail when I've got that YouTube video anyway. And then what you haven't seen yet is the new Liberty Tanalons. We do have quite a few of them, so I haven't brought all of them over, but I just brought a few to sort of show you. But as I said, they are all in the Just Arrived section anyway. This one here is the Liberty Unicorn Puzzle fabric, and if you look really closely, the pink are unicorns and the white, you see that? It's a little bit like an optical illusion in a way. And I think that's really cool, the way that they've sort of done that. So yeah, these ones are all Tana Cotton Lawn. Remember, I do have that video that I did recently that's got lots of ideas and inspiration for things that you can do with Tana Cotton Lawn as well, or just any cotton lawn. This one's beautiful. Also comes in another colourway as well. It's like clouds and a kind of tealy sky, but then with these lovely sort of sun rays in it, and it's got little birds in it as well. This one is the Ralston Bee print, so that one is beautiful as well. And then I love this one too. The colours in this one are beautiful, really lovely. This would be a nice one for autumn. This is the Alison Lewis C. And yeah, I love this one too. Hopefully you're getting an idea of scale as well when I'm holding them up. And then the other one is this one. This is also, we've got this in another colourway as well. This is another really beautiful one. This is the Hesper A Tanalon. So it's like a navy background with these kind of multicoloured hearts. So yeah, another really nice one there. And then the silks. So I mean, you definitely can get like Liberty silks popping up here and there on various places, but the ones that I've got are from the new autumn winter collection. So they are, I can't lie, they are expensive, but it's because they're like the new release ones. They're not like sort of dead stock or kind of older prints. They're the new designs. So they are a whopping, hold your breath everyone, £65 a metre. They are 138 centimetres wide, so they're not like really narrow, but of course they are beautiful. So some of them are crepe de chine, and then some of them are the silk satin. So the crepe de chine has got more of like a matte finish. It does still feel really soft and silky. It is silk, but it's like just a little bit more textured than the sateen. So this particular one is the crepe de chine. This is the Francis Wild Sea. And I love the print on this one. It's a navy one, but then it's got these kind of sort of like slightly out of focus flowers on it. So beautiful. So yeah, love that one there. And then let me get you the other ones out. I'll show you the other. So we've got one other one that's crepe de chine. That's this one here. So it's a bit more kind of multicoloured. This one, hold that one out. I would say this is This is like midnight background. I think it would depend what you were comparing it to as to whether it looked navy or black. It's one of those like really, really dark ones that probably could be interpreted either way in some kind of light. But it's definitely darker than the navy that was in the other one that I just showed you as well. So this is the Valley of Nissa. Interesting name. And then the other ones that I've got are all the satin, the silk satin. I'm going to bring them over together. This is them here. So this is the same print that I showed you in the Tanalon. So the satin ones they've got more of like a sheen to them, and they definitely feel like much kind of smoother and sort of slippier and silkier than the crepe de chine. And then this one here, this has got like a sort of maroony background to it. This is Montague Muse. And then that was the Alison Lewis. As I said, that one was in the Tanalon. And then this one here, lovely autumnal colours in this one. This is the Woodland Canopy in this one here. So yeah, I know they are all like they're really beautiful. They are expensive. It would be something like extra special if you're going to make something with this. But even just like a little sort of camisole or a simple top would work really nicely. I don't think you would need to line them. And they're all 65, the silks, 65 a metre. The other thing that you could do, which I have done in the past with a coat that I made, and it was a Liberty silk that I used to line the bodice. So I lined the back bodice and the front bodice of the coat in the Liberty silk, and then I lined the sleeves in just like a regular like viscose coat lining, so it was slippy to get my arm in and out. Obviously you don't see that anyway, but then you see it in the, you know, in the bodice, and it feels really luxurious. So, you know, if you wanted to make yourself like a super fancy luxurious coat, then that's another option as well. But yeah, they are really beautiful, and you know, definitely to be appreciated just by stroking them and touching them and looking at them, as well as actually sewing with them. We all know that buying fabric and actually sewing with it are two separate hobbies now, don't we? So that's the new Liberty fabrics. And then the other thing that I wanted to let you know is that this fabric is back. So this is the Neon Garden Jacquard fabric that we had in our Lusk and Tyre Sewing Society kit, that was back in June. So this has come back into stock. We do have a limited amount of it, and I probably won't be able to get it again because it gets made especially for us, so I have to get it made in like, you know, batches, and it takes a while to come. Anyway, that's a really boring story. We do have a little bit. For the bag, you need 70 centimetres. That's how much we included in the kit. But it would also be really nice for like a cute little pair of shorts. You can make a little jacket with it as well. So yeah, Neon Garden is back in stock. And then the other thing I wanted to let you know about as well is that we do also have two new companies that we're offering PDF patterns for as well. So we've got the Thread Theory patterns, which are predominantly like male orientated patterns, and that they're like modelled and photographed on males. So yeah, there's just some more options in that vein. And then we also have the Chalk and Notch PDF versions available as well. And we do have some of those printed ones, but sometimes it can be hard to have the printed ones in stock. So yeah, we've got the PDF versions available, and then of course we can print it for you as well. So just wanted to sort of let you know that. Somebody's asking, is there a video for sale to make the bag, please? So the pattern and the video kind of come as one, like they come together. So there's not, because the pattern's only available, it's my pattern that I designed, so it's only available from us. You kind of get the video when you buy the pattern. It's like one kind of bundle thing of like a pattern and a video together. But yeah, if you search Lusk and Tyre in the shop, then you'll find it. Okay, then the other thing I wanted to show you as well quickly, and then I'll get into answering your questions, are some of the lovely striped linens that we've had as well. So these are all 100% linen. They are probably a bit lighter weight. I would say they're lighter weight than our enzyme linens, but they're just really lovely, nice summery colours. This is the apple and blue sorbet stripe linen fabric. They're all $15.90 a metre. So they would be really nice for little summer sundresses if we were to ever get any sun. Or like a nice oversized blouse or shirt would be nice as well. Or like this would be nice too. This is the Helen's Closet Gilbert blouse. This is the apricot and pink sorbet. So yeah, just like a nice sort of light pink and a lovely kind of tangerine orangey colour. And then a few more that are sort of kind of nice warm sort of tangerine-y, orangey, peachy vibes. I'll try and hold them up both together. The rolls are quite unwieldy though. There we go. So this one is the lilac and apricot multi-stripe, and this one's the apricot and coral wide stripe. We do have some other ones, other stripe ones as well. Again, you'll see them all in the Just Arrived section too, but I wanted to just show you them here as well. So yeah, that was all of the new things that I wanted to show you. We do have, actually, I'll show you this one as well. We've got a little bit left, but I'm pretty sure we can get this again. It's quite new, it's been really popular. Candy mini grid cotton viscose fabric. You don't often see cotton and viscose together. 50-50 mix. It's $12.60 a metre. The little checks woven into it. It's really nice. Got quite lightweight, but I don't think you would really need to like line it or anything. Nice little blouse, shirt, dress, that kind of thing would be lovely. Okay, so I'm going to get on to questions and that sort of thing. If you've got any questions as I'm chatting along, please feel free to ask me as well, and I'll try and keep up to date with them too. And I think there are some where I'm going to be asking you for some help to answer the questions as well, because it's nice to utilise all of your experience too. Okay, so there was a comment from the last live video that I posted on YouTube, so somebody watching on there, and she said the waist bigger than the hips question resonated with me. So I think this was a question that somebody was asking when their waist is bigger than their hips, and sort of how to kind of work with that when you're making trousers, or sort of how to grade and how to get something to fit. So she said, I did an online course with Alice & Co where you find out your dimensional shape. Waist bigger than hips is a rectangle. Most off the peg clothes are made to the shape of an oval, so often won't fit rectangles or circles. They help you make a block to your individual proportions. I recommend it. They do an in-person course as well, so that might be worth checking out if you want some help with that. Okay, so the question, now on to the questions that were new for this session. So the first one is, can you talk about what cotton interlock is compared to standard jersey fabric? So we had a range of double knit fabrics in plains, and I guess you just want to know what the difference is. So looking up the sort of technicalities of it, you have to, it's made using 2 needles, so you have to kind of see it as almost being like 2 layers of single knit jersey that are back to back and kind of knitted together. So it sometimes gets called, as well as getting called interlock, it sometimes gets called double knit as well, and it basically looks the same on both sides. So when you have normal single knit jersey, like t-shirt weight jersey, there's like a right and wrong side to it, like a front and back. The front tends, when you look really closely, it tends to have like vertical lines going up and down. You can kind of see like the lines of the stitches, whereas with cotton interlock, it looks like that on both sides. So it's basically like a double-sided fabric, so it tends to be thicker. So yeah, that's the difference with cotton interlock there. I think this one is 100% cotton as well, so it's not, it does stretch because it's knitted, so the amount of stretch that it's having, like, you know, if I try and hold this up and straight, you know, you can see that it's stretchy, but it won't really have as much recovery as like a regular t-shirt knit because it doesn't have elastane in it. So elastane is, you know, it's like a stretchy fibre, like thread that's woven into the fabric, that means that when you stretch it, it kind of like pings back to shape again. Because this doesn't have that, it will bag out and stretch more, so it's good for like looser styles really. So yeah. Okay, somebody's asking, will you be at the knitting and stitching show in Harrogate this year? I've never been before, but thinking of getting tickets. I won't be, I'm sorry. I'm not able to do any shows really. I did used to do them before COVID, and I'm going to be honest, I think my business is just not set up to do shows. It was really, really difficult for me to do them, and unfortunately the cost and expense of them is like kind of prohibitive to the amount of investment of energy and time that I have to do, which is kind of a shame really. I wish it was easier for me to do them, but I can't really. That's not really working for me at the moment, so I'm sorry that I won't be there. Please come and visit us though. When I've washed and dried my linen, I can never get all the creases out. It never looks as nice as it did pre-wash. Any tips for ironing linen? You need to make sure you've got a pretty good iron, and make sure that it's got water in it so that lots of steam is generated. So you need like an iron that's got a good steam function as well. and that you're like really taking the time and pressing it. It might be that if your iron's not got a great steam function, you could get like a little like a mister thing and like spray water on it to wet it a little bit and then iron it, and then that water and the steam that's generated when you then iron that water that's on the fabric will help to really sort of flatten out and help to get the creases out. Okay, the next one was, I've got 1.5 meters of your pink peach Dobby stripe fabric. This is this one here that comes in a few colours, and that's featured in a few makes in our window as well. So it's to make my 10-year-old daughter a summer dress. I'm not good at buttonholes. The one in your window isn't the silhouette we're looking for. Can you suggest alternative trendy girls dress patterns suitable for this fabric? I was wondering about one of the new patterns in the latest fibre mood, if she likes those, but we don't have much fabric and I'm not sure if the fabric is too lightweight anyway for those styles. I think you probably would have enough. I mean, it's like fairly wide, and 1.5's like a decent amount. So I suspect for like simple styles you would have enough. I do think the ones, so there's the sunny sundress and the daisy dress that I saw in the new fibre mood magazine that I think would be nice, and it probably is like a little bit lightweight for a dress, but you could easily line it. We've got some plain cotton voile that you could use to line it, or a plain cotton lawn, and you could make it really simple by just cutting that out, cutting the lining and the outer fabric, cut them both out, and then before you actually come to construct the garment, it's just baste those two layers together within the seam allowance, so you're effectively treating it as one layer, and then just construct the garment as normal. So then it will kind of automatically be lined then as you make it. That's probably like the easiest, most straightforward way to line it if you're maybe not confident about lining things anyway. But yeah, I think they would be nice for it. Okay, the next one was, I loved your Arctic Blue Christmas cracker kit last year so much I bought the kit twice. Fun. And I would like to make some more for family and friends this year. Will you be stocking any velvet ribbons similar to those used in the kits, as it was such nice quality? It's quite easy for us to get those velvet ribbons, so yeah, we can get some more. That would be fine. Obviously it's getting the colours that would match, but yeah, we can get some more. That would be no problem. I'm not sure if we are going to be doing cracker kits again this year or not, but I should be able to get more cracker tubes. So if anybody is wanting some cracker tubes, let me know, and I'll add it to my list of stuff to sort out over the next few weeks. Okay, the next question was, what would be the best way to hem a brocade dress with a circle skirt? What stitch length, etc.? I'm using blue, cream and gold floral brocade purchased from G&G. I would say if you've got an overlocker, to overlock the bottom, that fabric does tend to fray quite a bit. And then I would probably just turn it once, the amount that you've overlocked it by, and then top stitch it down. The thing with like a curved hem or a circle skirt is that you want to try and make the hem ideally as narrow as you can, really, so that it sits flat. So you could do that. If you've not got an overlocker, then what I would probably suggest that you do is sew a line of like basting stitches about 0.5 centimetre away from the raw edge. So you could just use a longer stitch length for that, like regular stitch, but maybe like lengthen it to 4.5 or 5. So sew that all the way around, and then you might want to like trim it a little bit. If you've got any like threads coming loose, trim that. And then use that line of stitching as a guide to press it back to the wrong side of the fabric. And then once you've done that, like press it again. So you're just making a really narrow turned hem, and the line of stitching you do will help to stabilize it, and then just top stitch it in place. So yeah, just try to keep it, I would probably just say try to keep it as narrow as you can. Okay, the next one, let me just check I've not missed any questions here, because the next question is quite long. Marks do a great spray that works well when ironing linen. Okay, good to know. Thanks for sharing. Okay, so the next question / questions was, it is about the fabric, with people like Fabric Godmother and New Craft House selling dead stock surplus from fashion brands. I have long wanted to know what the fabric mills do. Do the high street fashion brands choose from the fabrics the mills already have to make their lines, or do they tell the mills what they need and the mills make it specifically for their company, and then the surplus they don't use goes to the fabric shops as outlets basically? Yes, that is the case. So typically it's the fashion brands, or like the high street shops or whatever, typically they'll say like, we want this fabric made, and then they'll make it, but they might make too much, or then the high street shop might be like, actually we don't want it anymore, and then there's this like fabric left over. So then it can like filter down through various sort of, people and places, and like end up in shops like mine and the other ones. And then from the home source point of view, do the mills make fabric specifically for the fabric shops to buy up and sell to the home dressmaking market? Do the mills produce specifically for us home sewers? I can't think our market would be large enough or significant enough for the mills to be dedicating production specifically aimed at us. So it's a little bit confusing. It's not like a one thing fits all either. So yeah, there's like fabric companies, I guess, or like fabric distributors that will service like quite a large market. So there'll be ones that aren't just serving like the UK market, they're serving like the whole of Europe and Scandinavia as well. So then those companies will tell the mills like, we want these fabrics made, and then they'll all come to like a central point, but then they'll be distributed over like a large area, as I said, like the whole of Europe, the UK, Scandinavia as well. And the direction or like lead of that is coming from the company who are like distributing, or who are like the kind of wholesalers of the fabric. So that's the case there. And then the next part of the question was, or maybe the mills just make a load of fabric and some gets chosen by fashion brands and some by fabric shops like you? I mean, I think it depends on the size of the fashion brand as well. Like, it's, the minute to get something made, and like for you, for me to say to a mill, like, I want this fabric made, the minimums are absolutely massive. And not all fashion brands are going to be able to afford that. So there will be like some smaller fashion brands or fashion designers that are maybe like sourcing fabric in a different way that does already exist, because they don't have the, they're not big enough to order the volumes that they need it to get it like directly from the mill. So then the further part of the question was, otherwise, if it is not specifically produced for the home sewing market, then basically it could all be classed as dead stock, as it was produced for the fashion houses. It's fascinating to me because this could mean the mills themselves are the ones deciding to make pink floral fabrics a trend for the year, and the home sewers buy into that trend because the fabric's available. Or if it is the fashion houses who are telling the mills what's needed, and then they are the ones asking for pastels this year. We are in a trend of pastels, so please produce this. And in this scenario, the fabrics the home sewers will have available will be the excess dead stock pastels, but probably not until a year later, as the fashion trending fabrics of the moment seem to take longer to reach the fabric shops than the high street. I mean, yeah, it is quite complicated. Fabric comes in like various routes and sources, so there's not, I would say, like in terms of what's sort of dictating the trends, it probably does, like, I would say, like, as time goes on and social media goes on as well, the sort of influence of where the trends are is like, is open a little bit more. It's not, I guess in the past when like you could, the only way to sort of see clothes or kind of to see fashions would have been like looking in a magazine or like actually going to the shops, whereas there's so many other ways now that you can like get influence or see trends. And so yeah, I think it can come from like lots of different places. I don't know if that helps at all. Anyway, if there's anything else you want to ask that you feel like I might be able to answer, please ask. Okay, somebody's asking, what pattern is the top on the model in the window, please? This one is the Chalk and Notch waterfall raglan tee, which you can either make with that little peplum or without. It's a nice simple one for stretchy jersey fabric. So yeah, we've got that pattern in the shop, and you can see it more up close in my window blog post too. Okay, the next one was, I love viscose linen, but I have such a hard time laying it out and cutting. Any tips? I always pre-wash and iron, but I can never keep the grain line straight and everything ends up wonky. So I would make sure that Viscose linen does tend to like move around and you know, sort of, it can kind of warp and stretch out of shape a little bit. So I would say when you're drying it, try to dry it either as flat as you can. If you're like hanging it up or hanging over something that is like equal weight on either side of what you're hanging it, so that it doesn't inadvertently stretch as it's being dried, because that can then make it seem like it's a bit wonky when you come to cut it out. So drying first will help. And then when you do come to iron it, make sure it's a nice hot steamy iron, as I was saying before, and you give it a really good iron, totally flat, like don't iron a crease in it. And then when I come to lay it out on the table, I try to like match my selvages up, and then I'll try to get the fold in the fabric and like the selvages sort of parallel to the edge of the surface that I'm cutting, because that can help you to make sure that the fibres that have woven it are sort of sitting at 90 degrees to each other as well. If you find it hard sort of like pinning onto it and then cutting round it, one option might be to look into getting self-healing mats and a rotary cutter and pattern weights, and then you know you're just kind of weighing the fabric down and then using the rotary cutter rather than having to pin and cut. So that could be another option as well. So hopefully a few things there to work on. Okay, somebody's saying that was very interesting. I have often wondered how the fabric decisions were made by the mills, pattern companies, designers, etc. Okay, the next one was, I cannot get the right size when making clothes, so I have stopped. Any advice to get me sewing again? I did do a blog post and a video quite a while ago now that was about choosing a size and making a toile. I can't actually remember now off the top of my head whether it's in the Sewing Society article section or the blog section, but if you can't find it on the website, just send me a direct message and I will send you the link. But it gives like lots of in-depth advice and tips about choosing a size. But essentially my like headline tips would be basically ignore what the size is called. Please do not pay attention to that and attribute any meaning to the number of what the size is called, because it varies so much and you cannot sort of think that you're one size and then just make that size in the sewing pattern, because it basically doesn't mean anything. All the sewing pattern companies are different and they label their sizes differently. So you have to know that you're taking your body measurements and that you're looking at that, but understanding things like ease and the type of fabric that you're making things in as well, that can all affect sizing too. So yeah, it can be a little bit of a minefield, but I think there are ways that you can sort of get your head around it a little bit more, and I would suggest checking out that video and blog post, because it'll give you lots of extra background information on that. Okay, somebody's asking, do you still have in stock the fabric you used to make the named Esme cardigan, which was in a previous window display? Or if not, something else which might be suitable. We do have it, but not in that grey colour. We've got it in a double-sided version, which is, we've got one that's like black and a kind of oatmeal colour on one side. We've got it in a teal, and we've got a little bit of cream left. I don't know, actually, that might have sold. It kind of stopped being available basically because it was like out of season, but it might be that it comes back again in the winter, but we do still have a few colours left over just now. Somebody's asking, what fabric is your shirt made from? This is a viscose linen as well. This was a kit that we did a couple of years ago, so it's actually got a very subtle pinstripe in it, which you can't actually really see. But yes, viscose linen. I think when sizing a pattern, the secret is to find a pattern company that suits you and stick with it. Friday Pattern Company is my favourite. That's definitely true as well. You probably find that some pattern companies fit you better than others, and that's because they all start with a different block, so all their proportions and sizing are slightly different as well, and it might just be that, you know, your particular body shape and proportions just match a sewing pattern company, you know, match it better. So it's easier to make things sort of straight out the packet. The next question was where to get interesting linings. So linings, I would say, are a little bit hit and miss. Probably the more interesting ones I have are when like dead stock ones come up, or like, you know, like ones that are like surplus to the garment manufacturing industry, and they're not really like reliable as and when they come up. But what you can do if you want something that's a bit more exciting as a lining is what I was saying in the beginning about using the Liberty silks as lining. So say you're making a coat or a jacket, you could line the front and back bodice with a Liberty silk. I've done that with a Liberty cotton lawn before as well, or you could use a printed viscose too, and then just use like a more traditional typical lining in the sleeves, and then that's like a little bit more interesting. Okay, somebody's saying in terms of sizing, I did a fitting workshop with Layla and it transformed my ability to make and fit things. I know now I now know certain adjustments that I make to most patterns. Yeah, it's definitely like once you kind of find out what works for you, there can be like, you know, you'll sort of notice a pattern. So it might be like, for example, when I make trousers, I typically do a flat seat adjustment or a flat bottom adjustment because I just know that my shape is like that. So then it can kind of omit the need to constantly make toiles all the time, because you can think, well, you know, I know that my shoulders are quite rounded or forward, so I'll do a forward shoulder adjustment, and that's, you know, that kind of works for me, for example. So it definitely gets better with practice. Don't feel like you have to know all the answers at the start. A lot of it is just learning and trial and error. Try to enjoy it as much as you can. Don't be hard on yourself. Okay, the next one was I got a sewing machine as a gift. That is really exciting, lucky you. But I can't sew at all. Any tips for a beginner? So I would say just maybe see if you can like Google or search on YouTube a sort of like a video or a tutorial for the model of sewing machine that you've got, of how to set it up. I've got a video on how to set a sewing machine up, but it's like it's a brother model that I show it on. So depending on what sewing machine you've got, you may or may not find that useful, but you know, you need to sort of work out how you need to set your sewing machine up. And then it might just be that you want to just kind of, you know, if you don't know how to sew at all, then it might be that you want to just kind of get some, you know, maybe you've got like an old bed sheet or an old pillowcase or something, like literally just run that through the sewing machine so that you can just kind of get a little bit of a feel for what you're doing. And then, you know, you just, if you want it depends if you want to get more into garment making or like making other sort of simple stuff. You know, if you, and it also depends kind of what your other hobbies are, or like what your other kind of skill sets are, as well as to how quickly you might pick up garment making, because it helps if you can like sort of picture things in 3D a little bit. But making something like a simple skirt that's just made out of rectangles or something, or like a simple pair of pajama bottoms, there's some really simple patterns for that. Tilly and the Buttons have got a nice simple PJ bottom pattern. They've got a nice really simple top pattern as well called the Stevie top. They're quite good garments to start with because they're just really simple, and the instructions are quite in depth as well. But you know, you just need to start somewhere. You need to experiment. Don't be hard on yourself. Just enjoy the learning process, and yeah, it's exciting. Okay, somebody's asking any tips on the wash circle skirt to wash double gauze and linen. The wash cycle, like maybe that is. I would just wash it in however you normally wash your clothes. For double gauze and linen, I typically wash it 30 to 40 degrees on like a normal cycle, and then I just leave it to air dry. I found your double gauze video really helpful. Would you consider doing something similar for wintry / party fabrics like velvet, please? I will add it to my list. Thank you for the request. Somebody's saying a cushion cover. Yeah, made to sew beginners sewing videos looked interesting, and also Closet Core do a beginner's course as well. Yeah, that's right. Thanks for those tips. Okay, the next one is one that I wanted to see if any of you had some suggestions on this one. So the question was, what is the best pattern making online course for a home sewer? Any suggestions, anyone? Let me know and I will read them out. The next question was, what sewing plans do you have / what are you working on right now? I am working on a Sewing Society sample for the September kit, so I can't actually tell you what that is. But it's not very summer appropriate in that the fabric's quite warm. So yeah, but not that it's like really hot and summery here anyway. But other than that, I don't actually have any of like my own sort of projects on the go at the moment. I did put some of the cool droplet tufted cotton. I do have some of that I wanted to make. I wanted to make like a really summery dress in it, but to be honest, I've slightly been put off by the rubbish weather, and that my hot summer holidays are in Scotland this year, which basically you have to wear jumpers anyway. So yeah, but Sewing Society samples is top of my agenda at the moment. Okay, the next question was how to reduce gathers in the back elastic waist, like the Pietra pants. To be honest, I'm not entirely sure, but I was wondering maybe like why you feel like you want to reduce it. Maybe like, is the fabric you're using maybe too thick, or maybe you need to, maybe the sizing that you've chosen is based on your hips and then it's a little bit too big at the waist, so then it's almost like there's too many gathers for that reason. Maybe you like need to grade between the sizes a little bit more, or like take some out of the center back, some of the fullness there. That would help to reduce the gathers before you put the elastic in. Or maybe if there's like just generally too much fabric in the back, maybe you need a flat seat adjustment like me as well. Obviously I don't know your sort of shape or size or dimensions, but that was a few things that came to mind. Okay, the next one was, could you squeeze an Ogden cami or Gilbert blouse from 1 meter of Nanny Arrow, or is it too narrow? It is pretty narrow. She said she was making a size 2 or a 4. I think you might be able to get an Ogden cami out of it. I think potentially, I don't know, without laying it out, I'm not 100% sure. I guess you could just use something different for the facings. I don't think you get a Gilbert out of 1 meter. I know it is kind of like a shame that they're so narrow, these fabrics here. If you're not sure how much fabric to get because it's so expensive, the fabric, what I would suggest you do is just get your pattern ready in the size that you're going to make and then kind of lay it out, and then you can work out how much fabric you need that way and then buy it precisely. Remember, we sell by the 10 centimeters, so you can be quite precise about how much fabric that you get. Okay, the next one was tips for sewing a curved hem with double gauze. So again, kind of similar to the tips that I was saying for the question that was about sewing the hem on a circle skirt and brocade fabric. If it's a curved hem, you want to try and ideally make it as narrow as you can. Or if you did want a bit of a deeper hem, you could draft the facing for it, potentially. But I would say if you've got an overlocker, you could just overlock it and turn it back. Otherwise, you could do what I said before, like do the line of basting stitches that's like 0.5 centimetre away from the raw edge, and then use that as a pressing guide to sort of press it back twice on itself, so it's quite a narrow hem that way as well. The thing is with a curved hem is that you're kind of having to press more fabric into like a smaller area, if that makes sense, because it's curved. So then if you do quite a deep hem, the bit that you press back like doesn't have enough to go, so it ends up kind of bulky and sort of overlapping each other. That's why it's good to try and keep it narrow. Okay, the next one was advice for making a man's wool winter coat as my first attempt at such a project. Get yourself a wooden clapper. We sell them. They're made locally here in Birmingham to our own specification. And I do have a video about how they're made and how to use it as well. But this will really help to set the seams nice and flat. It gives like a really lovely crisp finish. So you use it as you're ironing and pressing the wool. You kind of like squidge the fabric down and like flatten it. And it really helps to give a nice finish. So that would be my top tip there. Okay, has anybody been suggesting any of it was the question about the best pattern making online course. Size Me patterns and videos are really clear and simple, thanks Hannah. My first dress I made was the Sew Over It Grace dress masterclass step-by-step videos. They have other ones available now, but at the time that was the only one. That's a good suggestion, is that if you make a pattern that does have step-by-step videos, or maybe like a sew along with it, and you get a lot more in-depth like instructions and photographs and stuff. I saw a tip in Helen's Closet to up your differential feed in your overlocker, and it helps the curve, and it helps curve the fabric in on curves, so it can help skirt hems. That's a good tip. So that was to increase your differential feed in your overlocker. Udemy has a class in pattern making. I recommend getting a walking foot also for the person wanting to make a men's wool coat. Yeah, that's a good idea too. Especially if it's like a thicker sort of wool. Now obviously your machine might find it harder to kind of feed it through, so a walking foot can definitely help with that. Okay, the next one was, would the Rose Cotton Twill be suitable for a trench coat, please? That is this one here. It's 100% cotton, and I would say it's more sort of like kind of medium weight. It doesn't have stretch in it or anything. Yeah, I think that would make a nice trench coat. Somebody's also saying take a look at Sussex Seamstress's videos. Where can I get a Brother walking fruit from? From a sewing machine dealer that sells Brother sewing machines. So the one that's local to us, Frank Nutt and Kings Heath, they sell all the different feet that would be needed for Brother sewing machines. Sewing Therapy does a nice sew along videos. Lovely, thank you. Okay, the next one was a few years ago I bought your Ness skirt kit, and I want to make another. Do you remember what denim was included in the kit? And if you don't have the same one, can you recommend a good alternative? I don't remember the exact one, but I suspect it was probably the dark blue 11-ounce rigid cotton denim, which is this one here. We've just got it sewn up into like a little sample thing here, so you can kind of see what it looks like made up. So yeah, that the 11.7 ounce rigid does come in other colours as well, but this particular one is the dark blue. The other one that I think could also work as well is the Cone Mills one that we've got. This is the Cone Mills 10 ounce indigo rigid selvage denim. It's just a little bit narrower, it's kind of, because it's selvage denim, it's like a narrower width. So again, as I was saying before, probably best to get your pattern pieces and like lay it out so you can work out how much you need. So that's for the Ness skirt there. The next one was which jersey would work best for the stretch version of the arenite pants. I think that's a Sew Liberated one, and they're quite loose and sort of baggy. So I would say either the Tencel Medal would be a nice one, because it's nice and lightweight, it's really floppy, and it will hang really nicely in the fullness of that style. Comes in lots of other colourways as well. This is the cornflower one, and it's $17.20 a metre. And then the other option, which is a little bit heavier and thicker, this is the loop back Medal. So it's like a French terry loop back on the reverse. It just feels a little bit thicker and heavier, but because it's Medal, it still flops like the Tencel. Tencel and Medal are very similar in how they behave. So this one's the petrol loop back jersey fabric, and it's $17.60 a metre. So it would be nicer as well if you want something that was a little bit thicker. And then we've got fabric for the papercut tule pants, the kids version, British summer weather appropriate. You can't, it did say that you could use woven or knits for this fabric. They're like quite simple elasticated waist. So I was thinking either that you could use the loop back one that I just showed there. That would give a sort of like kind of slouchier effect. Nice and comfy. The other option that I thought would be nice as well is the cotton French terry loop back, which we have in a few colours too. This one is the muted sage cotton French terry. It's $15.60 a metre. So it kind of looks like a regular jersey on one side, but on the back it's got the loop. It's looped back, so it's just like a little bit thicker and heavier. So I thought they would be quite nice. They're not too like heavy or thick, but yeah, definitely this British summer weather appropriate. It would be nice. And then the next one is fabric recommendations for the SOI Sofia dress for a wedding guest. So this is their new pattern. It looks lovely. It's quite a fitted bodice. Then it's got this really lovely tie detail at the back, and then like a gathered skirt. These were my two choices here that I thought would be nice. This one is a viscose. It's trailing florals viscose fabric, and I just think the colours and brightness of that are really lovely. I think that would make a stunning dress for a wedding. And then this one is linen, 100% linen. This is the Inkwell linen fabric. It's $16.80 a metre, and it does come in like an orangey sort of colourway as well, but I think that would be lovely and nice and bright and bold for a wedding as well. So that would be my suggestions for that. Or you could go all out and go for one of the Liberty silks. Okay, let's see what else. Thank you for answering my trench coat fabric question, no props. Is there a general rule of thumb of how long you make each tier for a dress? I wanted to turn the Ogden cami into a long dress with 2 tiers before, I guess I thought I would ask. It just varies really. I wouldn't say there is like a general rule of thumb. Like some have like a shorter one and then a longer one, or some it's like split half, or some are like longer then with a smaller bit at the bottom. I think it's just personal preference, what sort of thing you like the look of. Do you have any jerseys with little animals on it? I do, yeah. They're not like near me in the shop right now, but we do. If you go onto the website, and then you can filter the fabric. So if you select jersey, and then you can select like the type of prints, you could select novelty and animals, and then I think they'll come up that way. So that's probably the best way to filter them. Okay, the next question was, would the new Nani Arrow cotton silk be okay for pyjamas? I answered that in the beginning. Can you recommend a denim to make the sew over its Sorrento jacket? When we did it as the kit, we used the Cone Mills denim. this one here, so you can have a little look at how it looks in that fabric. If you go to the Sewing Society section of the website and then look at all the past kits that we've done, you'll see the Sorrento jacket there, and you can see what it looks like. I think it works really nicely. It's a very satisfying thing to make. And then the next one was skirt patterns recommendations to go with sequin fabric. Oh, I should have brought that one over to show you actually, like a really amazing kind of mermaid iridescent sequin fabric that we've got. I don't know any like patterns that are specifically for jersey, but I had a little look around and it looks like sometimes people sort of like adapt a pencil skirt pattern. So somebody done like a kind of blog post tutorial one on using the McCall's 7983 pattern, which is just a pencil skirt. But there are just some tutorials on YouTube as well that you can find where it sort of tells you just how to like draft your own with a few key measurements. It's pretty simple, like fairly straightforward. And you know, there's those videos that you can watch there. So I would just have a little search on either like on Google, or you could search on YouTube for like sequin skirt tutorial, and you'll find lots of different ones there that are good for inspiration. And then the last one here was maxi dress patterns that are also good for the office. So a few that I thought of were the Tilly and the Buttons Lyra, which is like a shirt dress at the top, but then it's got gathered tiers, so it's quite smart because it's got the collar. The Closet Core Nicks is nice as well. The Kilo Wrap dress, that's the named one, and I thought if that was just in like a nice classic black, maybe that would like look really quite smart and chic, so that's a nice jersey option there. The named Taika is quite nice as well. It's quite so it's sort of quite fitted in the bodice with little gathers and kind of mid-length sleeves, and then quite a long nice maxi dress. And the named Rita is a bit more like a shirt dress, and then a simple one, Tilly and the Buttons Lotta. I think that would be like nice and smart as well. And you could lengthen that if you wanted it to be like really maxi right down, but I think maybe the longest version in that's midi, but you could just lengthen it a little bit. The Leesland Co also have a jersey pencil pattern, good to know. Makers Atelier do a jersey pencil skirt. They made a sample in a sparkle fabric. Oh, that's good to know. Okay, so check out Makers Atelier jersey pencil skirt. Thank you for the Sofia suggestion. I was thinking at the beginning that I now want it in a Liberty silk. I mean, if you do that, please send me a photo. I will like be so excited to see that because it would literally look amazing. But yeah, it would be a bit of an investment. So that was all the questions that got sent in beforehand. So if anybody does have any other questions that you want me to answer right now, then do let me know. But thank you so much for watching, everyone. It's been really nice to chat to you again and hear what you're making and find out what's been happening and yeah, what you're asking me about. I love showing you all the different fabrics and everything. So I'll put the recording on YouTube tomorrow with the timestamp chapters so you can see at what point I answer the different questions that are sent in beforehand, so you kind of skip to that if you missed the beginning or whatever. But what is coming soon is, of course, the Sewing Society kits on Wednesday. Don't forget about that. And if you haven't signed up to our newsletter already, make sure you do that so you get first access. And then I'm also making a video and a blog post about all the different dresses that I've made as well, because the blouses and the tops one was really popular, and the woven tops one as well. And there have been some requests for a dress version. So I will be sharing that with you. It probably won't be till next week. So that is coming soon as well. Now, I am not 100% sure if I'm going to be here next Monday or not. There's a chance that I might, and there's a chance that I won't. And I can't really like say too much right now. I know that's really annoying. I get a bit annoyed when people say that, because it's like, why are you telling me if you can't tell me? Basically a TV opportunity's come up. I'm not going to say any more than that, but I don't actually know if it's happening yet or not. And whether it is or not affects whether and when it is, affects whether I can do the live next Monday. So I will just let you know later in the week. And I'll put, if I can do it, then my little question box, I'll put that up on Saturday again. So you can ask me any questions, but yeah, I'm just not 100% sure yet. So yeah. Thank you for your thanks, everyone. Good night. Thank you for this evening. Still love your Instagram live chats. Thank you. Missed the Liberty silk portion, but FYI, Style Arc Holly is great for silk in size 16 uses just 1.25 meters. Good to know. Thanks for sharing, Jennifer. Thanks, Lauren. I missed the beginning, but we'll catch up on YouTube. Yeah, that's right. I do also share it to Instagram as well. So once this finishes, then I'll share it. So you can watch it there, or yeah, you can watch it on YouTube tomorrow. Thanks, Lauren. Lovely fabric chat. Looking forward to the new videos. I hadn't realised you were live tonight. Glad to catch the last 20 minutes. Nice to see you. So exciting. I know it is quite exciting. I'll ask them when I'm allowed to like tell you what it is. But honestly, see, with like TV stuff, I like literally don't even believe it's happening until it's like actually happening. That's just kind of what it seems to be like. So yeah, I'll let you know on that one. But I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening, everyone. Are you still the fabric haul and showing new fabrics on your YouTube channel? Are you still do them? Yes, I did one last week. I do them at the end of every month, so you can see them on it. Usually like the last week of every month I do one. Looking forward to Wednesday at 12 p.m. Indeed, I will see you then, in picture form, obviously. Okay, have a good week, everyone. Hopefully I will see you soon. And yeah, bye.